Hello, hi, it's me Markus, and today I'm back with building Princess Peach's castle. Now you can see here the foundations for the castle appearing in the background, and I whipped out my builder's wand from Extra Utilities, the mod is called. It's a wand that lets you select a certain pattern you build with the walls and pull it out by whatever blocks you want. And there's a creative version that doesn't use any resources, so you can build quickly in creative mode some walls. Now I misclicked a few times, you can't see it in the video, I cut it out, but it basically whipped down some walls of the castle where I didn't want them, and I basically had to tear them down again. And all in all, I think I still was a bit faster, sorry for hitting the table there, with the builder's wand than I would have normally been. Now today I'm also alone with this, Christina is not here, and I'm using for this build my stone bricks, because it's a brick castle. I looked up many reference pictures and I tried to get the sizes right and the proportions right. And then I started building the obligatory bridge. Now when you play Mario and you enter the castle, you walk over this impressive, huge bridge. Then you see this big entrance-like thingy of the castle, and when you walk up to it, there's just this tiny small wooden door that lets you enter the castle. Now what I try to do is make this stone brick bridge as impressive as possible, a wide bridge, but I'll come back to it later and make it even bigger, because it just wouldn't fit with the entrance and the proportions weren't right. As I said, I was checking with some reference images on the internet, on Google, all the time to make sure that it's perfect, but to make it not look boring when you look at it from the side. You just see a 3-high wall. I replaced some blocks with it with darker stone bricks from Extra Utilities, again the mod is called, but I'll come back to that later and change it up. And then I started building the entrance. Now I ripped down some of the walls because the proportions weren't right. I made it one wider on both sides, so in total it's 2 wider. And I pulled it back. When you look at the image, there's this little entrance, this roofed bit where you can walk in. Again, stone brick floor. You'll see, put me down then later on. It will have a small entrance with a wooden door, maybe 3 or a bit higher, I don't know how I'll do that. But here you can see me rounding up the edges with some slopes. Now Carpenter's blocks mod is really handy. It helped me a lot, and as you can see on the towers, they are rounded up as well. Now I'll stay with the towers for a little while, because there was a very difficult bit with that. I rounded up these little struts that come out, but these aren't the towers, they are just the supporting bit for the towers, not the towers themselves. So I had the problem, you'll see me build it in a bit, now I'm expanding the bridge, but the towers will come out eventually and then be bigger, but I tried to build slopes and there already was a slope, so I used like 10-15 minutes for each tower to get the slopes right, because it would never be this perfect round shape. Now I started decorating the walls because it would look a bit dull, and I made this little line with blocks again from Extra Utilities, and I made this little castle moat, this trench around it, because when you look at images there's always this moat around it, and I made the castle a bit not higher but lower, because I pulled the walls down a bit to reach the water level. And now that's what I talked about, that's the bit where it got tricky. It was upside down slopes, there was upside down corners, I had to turn them and twist them, but in the end it was right, it looked cool, it looked awesome, it was neat, and it really did match up with the walls perfectly. But it really was a lot of work. Now I replicated that on 4 towers. I really quickly thought of multiplying the tower with some magic tools and just copy and pasting it over. And I read on the internet that these carpenter's blocks were a little problematic, because you can indeed turn around and switch them in different perspectives and axes, so the towers themselves would not have been a problem at all, the bricks themselves. but the slopes were not really compatible with turning around and stuff like that, because each block can be upside down and can be rotated, and this doesn't apply to copy and pasting it in, for example, World Edit. But in the end, I was pleased with the result. That's the tower I stuck with. Then I just rounded up the edges again with some sideways slopes. And that's it for today's episode. Next time I'm going to build some roofs. I'm going to start roofing up the towers and make them spiked and all that cool stuff. So stay tuned and bye!